Hello everyone, welcome back to Easy Peasy Photoshop. Let's have another lesson today. We're gonna talk about some more tools, the Marquee tool, Lasso tool, Magic Band tool, and we're gonna talk how to crop the image. We're gonna talk about the feeder and the modify, what are these two things and how we can use them. Finally, we go have another talk about the history and the history tools. So basically today we're gonna finish everything you need to know about the history panel. Okay, let's just start with our tools. Let me first open a new document. Alright, so here, as you see, we have the Marquee tool and then the shortcut is M. If you click on the M, that will be shown up, and we have 4 different Marquee tool here. Let's see what is Marquee tool itself. Basically, you can make a selection with Marquee tool. For example, if I make a selection here, then whatever I do, it will just stay inside this selection. For example, if I try to make a brush, as you see, it's just happened inside this selection. Also, for example, I will select this area, then I try to erase. Only that part will be erased. So when you select something, no matter what you do, any tools that you use or any filter, any plugins, it will just affect in this selection area. So we have 2 kinds here. One is for the rectangular, which you can make rectangle. The other one is ellipse, that you can create circle or the ellipse shape. Okay, so let's see what are these in the option bar. If you are here on the first icon, that means you can select something. Then whenever you want to select other object, you just click here, drag, it creates another selection. You can also move your selections. If you see when my mouse go inside the selection, the icon will change. You just hold the left click, you can now move your selection. For example, if you select here, then it's make mistake, you want to move it a bit to the left, you can just easily do it with your mouse. So what if I want to make a selection here and another selection at the bottom at the same time? You need to go here in the second icon. If you click here, now if you create another selection, the previous one is not going to delete. As you see under my mouse, there is a plus icon add-on here. I don't have that icon plus, but when I go that, there is a plus icon come. That means if I make another selection, it will add on into my previous selection. Also, the one beside it, if you want to remove part of this selection, if you click on the second icon, now you can see that there is a minus appear under my mouse. That means if I click somewhere, I'm gonna remove that part of selection. Let's see, like this. And what is this part, the 4th icon? Just imagine, let me click something. You make a selection here, then you make another selection here. This time, what it will be the final result is the place that was between these 2 different selections. So you have, for example, I make a circle shape here, then I go here, I create another one inside, like this. So this part that it was between these 2 is the part that I'm gonna select. So there is an easier way also to do this if you don't want to go on the icon. If you make a selection, then you just hold the left shift. It's already, as you see, that plus icon is appeared there, so I can add another one. Now, if I hold the left alt this time, I can remove my selection. So you don't really need to go there each time you want to change it. You can just use your shift and alt. You can also, there is another thing, your first selection, if you want to select the somewhere the first selection. If you hold the shift and then try to select, as you see, the ratio is same. I cannot more, it's a perfect square. Like without holding the shift, if I want to select something, I can change it to different shape. But when I hold the shift, it's a perfect square. Same goes to this circle. If you hold the shift, you can create the perfect circle. If you don't hold the shift, you can create any kind of ellipse that you want. So we have another option, feeder, here. We're gonna talk about it in this lesson, but after we're done with the selecting tool, so don't mind this now. In a few minutes we're gonna talk about it. We have here something like the style. Actually, this is the first thing that I told you guys. If you can also put it in the fixed ratio, so without holding the shift, you always have the fixed ratio. Or you can make it like, I want the ratio be 2:1, then whenever you click, you can just make it bigger or smaller, but the ratio of the height and weight is always 2. And you can also go to the fixed size. For example, you said, I want a selection of 50 pixel by 50 pixel. If you do that, then whenever you click, it just appeared 50 pixel by 50 pixel. You cannot change the size anymore. We're not going to talk about the mask today. The masking is something different. We're going to talk about them in another time. Okay, so let's see what, actually these two, they are almost same, nothing different. You just have anti-alias option here. What is this? If you turn this off, then you try to create something. You can see the edges, they are so sharp, but if you turn on this, you check that option, now you see that's the different anti-alias. Actually, you also see that in also the games. There is always something that if you check in, the quality become better. Actually, it's make your edges more smoother than this one. We have two more kind of selecting option here, single row and single column. If you be on the single row, then whenever you click somewhere, it automatically select one row of the pixel. So this is just one pixel and the complete row will be selected. And if you be on the column and you hold that, again it's just a whole single column, but all one pixel. Again, you can do all the other options that you have there, like you can add more if you want. Like I have a single row, I can add lots of. If I hold the Alt, then if I hold the Shift, I can add more, and if I hold the Alt, I can actually remove them. So that was our marquee tool, and how we're gonna use this tool. So the next tool that we want to talk about is the Lasso tool. It's actually, as you see here, it's almost same with the other selection. The difference here is that you can create any different shape. Here we just have the rectangular and the circular shape. Here you can create any shape that you want. You have three kind of Lasso tool here. The first one, the moment you hold the left click, you can draw any kind of line, and then the moment that you just release the left key, as you see, it select this part. Again, it's not much a good tool if you're using the mouse, but if you're using the graphic tablet, because you have the pen, you can make perfectly any kind of selection that you want. We have another selection also, the bottom one. This time you click somewhere, and then as you see, it's not really gonna make any line, but I can go here, then I make another left click, another point, then another left click. So this option actually is much better if you're using the mouse. As you can see, I can just go any place that I want. I just make another click and I make different kind of selection. How can we close its selection? It's simple. If you go close to your starting point, as you can see, there is a smart circle up here under my mouse cursor. That means I'm gonna attach the ending to the beginning of my line. And also there is another option, is that you just, the moment that you make a double click on any part of the image, it automatically will attach your ending point to the starting point. If I make a double click here, as you can see, it's already attached. And we have another kind of lasso tool, the magnetic. For this reason, I need to open something for you guys. Okay, the magnetic lasso tool, that's how it works. Basically, you click somewhere, then you just move the mouse without clicking anything. It will automatically start selecting the object based on the contrast and the color of the object. So you can see, and then whenever I want to bring it back, I just make a double click. Now it make the selection for me here. Again, we can continue. Again, in all these lasso tools, you also have these options. Like if you hold the shift, you can continue your selection. That's it. And what is important here in this magnetic lasso tool, you have some options here. You have this width. What that means is, that means how far I should be from another color until actually it makes the automatic selection. Right now I'm in the 35 pixel. Let's see how it's gonna select. See, the moment I get near, it start selecting. Right now, if I make it like make it like 100. Sorry. See, it starts selecting when I'm still far from it. So basically, you are telling it that how close you move your mouse before it's recognized the selection. We can also change the contrast. It's you should make it actually higher if your image is darker, because you can actually tell them what kind of contrast to use for the selection. If you're using with the dark image, the image that is darker, you increase this contrast tool, and frequently I put that back on there, 35. Frequency, what's that frequency? Okay, look how many selection it makes. You could see it put 1, 2, 3, 5 points for me. If I increase it, that means I have more points. Now see, it's like every move that I make, it creates another point for me. It's up to you guys. These options, actually, you have to just work with it to have a better selection. It depends if you have an image like this that doesn't have much curve area. It's like it's just one curve here, 2 curves, and then 3 curves here. If you want to select something like that, you put the frequency on that. 35 is okay, or 30, or even 20, that will be enough. But if you have an object that it has lots of curves, for example, if you want to select this part, as you can see, there are lots of areas that go up, go inside, go up, go inside. That time you need to increase this number, so it will put more points here, so you will have a more accurate selection. All right. Now, so this was our lasso tool. We have another section, we call it magic wand. What magic wand does exactly? Just imagine that you have a JPEG option. Okay, we're not going to talk about the layer, because for sure the layers are obvious that they are not same in the one image. Okay, let's see. Now, if I go to my magic tool, then I click on any of these colors, it will automatically select that color. For example, if I click on the white, it automatically select all the white area. If I click on the red, it automatically select the red. If I click here on the black, it automatically select all the black things. But if you're having a real picture, like our old friend here, okay, what if I use magic wand here? For example, if I use magic wand here in this black, Well, as you see, the other sample that we were working, the colors are also plain, but here we have different kind of black here, like we have the dark shade of black, light shade of the black. Here is almost very bright. So what will happen if I click somewhere here? As you see, it will select the black one, but not the darker or the lighter, because I actually click here on the normal kind of flag. Or if I click here and this kind of brown color here, only this part was selected. The others are not selected. So actually, I'm not much fan of using the magic wand because it's not accurate, especially if you are working with lots of colors. You can use the magic wand if you have just simple color, something like this file. Yeah, it will be very accurate. But here it's not much accurate. But still, we can work with that. There is an option as tolerance. Okay. If you increase that, basically you are telling the magic wand that select more variety of the color. If I put the tolerance higher, then I click here on this dark spot of the black color. You see, this time it almost select all the blacks and even selects some part of the dark brown, as you can see. If I increase it, like if I make it 20 this time, then I just try again. You see, this time it's just select this black. So if you reduce this number, that means you make the choice harder for the magic wand. It's like, I just want that color, that's it. You see, if you put the tolerance at 1, and then when you click, it's just only that spot, the 1 pixel, and the colors that they were exactly around it will be selected. If you increase it, make it like 50, then you click again, see, almost everything will be selected. Anyway, as I said before, the automatic things like the magic wand, or even we talk here about the magic eraser, they are not really accurate tools to work with it. But anyway, they are there. It's up to you if you want to use it. We also have another thing, quick selection tools. This one actually is kind of look like a magic wand, but this time actually it's gonna select based on the contrast of the area. For example, if I click here and I just still moving, see, it select this part for me. I can just move up. No, this area is also selected. No, you see, it's actually it's select finally my whole image. Again, I don't say if it's a good tool. Some people said actually it's a good way to make a selection for your image if you're doing the photo edit, if you want to change the background, but I'm not really suggesting that for that things, because the edges are not very accurate. Look at the edges. If you cut it, if you add another color, like for example, I want to put this gray background behind it, you see the selection is not really actually a good type of selection. But anyway, it's up to you guys. If you want to know about more than how to select the objects perfectly, especially for the photo editing, I will have different kind of video, different training that I will just focus on the photo editing, because actually that's one of the things that I do for the living, editing the pictures. Alright, so right now we done with these 3 tools. Actually, as you see, they are almost all the same. They are just for the selecting, and then the shortcuts are same. Even in the using the magic wand, you can see still, if you hold the shift, you can still add more, and if you hold the alt, you can reduce the selection. So all of them are almost same. You can just, it's a different type of the selection, but almost all of them doing the same thing. They make selection for you. So now, what is modify and the feeder that we were talking about? If you select an area here, let's go back at the start and create a layer. Okay, if I select something here, then I, for example, I put black color. Okay, So simple square with the black color. This time I make the selection, but you can go here in the option bar. In the top bar, you click on the select, then go to the modify. You can see there are several options here. Let's talk about the feeder. As you see, it also has the shortcut. Actually, I put this shortcut Alt, Control, and D myself. I think in the for your notes it's Shift plus F6, if I'm correct. You can always change your shortcut to whatever you want. So if you click on the feeder, and for example, you make 20 pixels. Okay, you can have the radius. How many pixels you want to give feeder? 20. See what happened here. Now if I add the color, you see it's not that sharp. It's like it's fading to my background, the color. That's what means feeder. So basically, you know how feeder is soft. So basically you will soften your edges. Now let's see again. I give feeder this time less, like 5 pixels only. See, the more you give pixel, the more it's become, the more you give feeder, it become softer and softer edge. So this is feeder. This is very important option for plus softening, for any kind of edit, any kind of drawing, especially in the photo editing. The feeder is very important part of the selection. That's why actually it has a shortcut. It's more useful than the rest of the options that you can find in the modify. Okay, let's see the other type of the modify that I have. This time I go to the border. Okay, 10 pixel. Let's see what will happen. See, my selection changed actually to a border. Before it was just a simple square. Now when I click on the border, that's what happened to my selection. The other one that you have is smooth. Make it like 10. Let's see what happened. Actually, it will just smooth your edges. It's not like the feeder that it give you the softening effect. It's just make smooth your edges. If you have a selection with the sharp edges, it's just smooth your edges. The other one, expand. So expand is like I have this selection, I expand it by 10 pixels. That means I will expand it from each of these points by 10 pixels. So basically it's get larger. But as you see, the other type of the modify that I'm using, it doesn't much really affect on the softness or the hardness of my lines. It doesn't have the same effect with the feeder. It's just like stylize your selection. And the last one, contract. Put it in. So basically it's make it smaller. It's opposite of the expand. So again, we select something. Modify, you can see. So expand and contract are against each other. This one is make it bigger. This one is make it smaller. Smooth will just smooth your sharp edges like here. And the border, it completely change your selection to a border type of selection. But feeder is completely something different. It will fade your selection. And just remember this, if you give too much feeder, for example, if I give 75, you will receive this kind of error, because that means the place that I selected, if with the 75 pixel feeder, that means nothing will leave left here anymore, because it's like you give 75% pixel, 75 pixel from here, 75 pixel from here, from the other side. So that means actually my nothing left here in my center to have the color, because like let's see if it accepts the 60. Yeah. See, even for the 60, how small it is now, my rectangle changed completely to a circle. So whenever you receive that error, whenever you receive this error, that means you are giving too much feeder to your selections. Of course, when you have the highest quality of the image, when you have the larger area that you are selected, you can give larger feeder. For example, if I select this time, this big selection, now if I give 75, you see that this time it accepted my feeder. So that was about the selecting things, how to modify it. So later on, when we are gonna talk about the other stuffs and the other lessons, we're gonna use that selecting and the feeder all the time. Now, let's go back to the history that we were already talking about in the last lesson in our history panel. This time we want to talk about everything here in the history, whatever we are doing. Okay. So the history, as we remember, whatever I do, it will written here, it will save here. For example, make this image black and white. Okay. Then I add black color here, and I add black color here. For example, I am designing something anyway, I'm just doing something here. And maybe some white color here also, okay? For example. Now, what I want to do is, I want to remove this part of black that I made. What can I do? If I want to go use my history here, as you see, I go backward, 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 backward. You see this black that I add, this was the first thing that I did. So if I want to undo this, basically I'm gonna lose everything that I did after that. Because if I want to just go there, I don't want to remove the rest of the colors that I did here. I just want to remove this area. This area is just too much. I want to remove it. So what I'm gonna do this time? First thing, you're gonna find when did you add that color. Okay, so this is the type that I put this color. You go one step behind it. And this time you click here and this square here, and you see there is an icon of the brush appear here. Now go back to the end of your work, okay? Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna choose your history brush tool. As you see, it has the exactly same icon. Now if it's like use brush, okay? If you click any place of this image, only that area will undo. Only that area will be a step back. Actually, you can also have the opacity. It's exactly look like the normal brush. You have all the options that you have for the normal brush and the history brush. So here, as you see, I did not remove any of my other works, and I just remove this part that I don't want. So if I think that, hey, this part is also not good, then this white, I just go there. So as you see, I'm not removing everything. I will just step back into this place, the one that we mark, whenever I put my brush, history brush. So it's like I already remove everything behind the history brush. Again, you can also do the other things. For example, hey, I remove everything, but I realize I need that line here. So I again go to my history. I find when I have this line, this time I mark it here. I go back to the end of my work. Now if I click somewhere, this area goes back to the place that I already have my history brush selected there, okay? So we can do lots of things with that one because when you are working, especially on the photo editing or when you are doing the digital arts, you make the mistake. It's like you work lots of things, then you just want to change something, and that's why you're gonna go back. You don't want to lose everything. You cannot erase everything because it's a waste of time and you want to do it again. So you just use your history brush and basically you just select that part to go there. For example, I make this image, then I don't want the eyes of the dog be black and white. So I just go there. When it was in the color, I put my history brush, then I come back at the end and I see, simple. So that was the work of the history brush. And we have another option here. We call it snap. okay, a snapshot. What that snapshot means, as you see, I can just put one history brush for myself. Like if I come here, my history is work there. If I go there, it will be work. It will go back there. What if I have several design, several things happen, but I always want to go back there? As we mentioned before, the more that you work, the more that when your history get too long, like if you put 500, after the 500, it will start overwriting from the top to the bottom. So this time you can use the snapshot. For example, here in this place, I already like this edit. I create a snapshot. You see, that part of my this kind of work, it actually it make a copy from here, goes directly here. So no matter now what I do now, even if I go back to the start, okay, and I do the other things, like see, I'm overwriting my history, okay, I'm overwriting my history now, but this snapshot is always there. So if ever I click there, it will go back directly to that edit, that I mean that changes that we have. Now I can play with that one. This is my okay, let's make something actually decent. For example, I have that Snapchat. No, I'm gonna add a filter for this image. Don't mind what is this filter. We're gonna talk about them another time. I just want to show you how to can use this image. Okay, I add this filter. Now I go to my history brush. I will select here before that I give that filter to the image, okay? For example, history opacity 42. Now I will click here. Okay. Here. Okay, now I have this effect, okay? So, but now I have that snapshot also, okay? Let's create another snapshot here. Now I have these two snapshots. I have the original image when I made it black and white, and when I add this filter. Now, if I want to combine these things, I can easily use that. When I go put my history brush on that black and white image, now I put it here with the 35. You see what happened? So the dog, the face of the dog, I'm using from this part. The rest of the image is the edit that I did before. Now, if I just realize that, hey, actually it doesn't look good, I want to go back on what it was. Okay, I go to my other snapshot, this one, that it doesn't have that black and white effect. And I can just, this time I put my history brush here. All right. Now, if I continue my work and I use my history brush, I can bring back those areas that I think that was too much, see? Like this. So I hope you understand how this history brush use actually, it's look like undo, but you are just undoing the part that you are brushing on top of that. And of course you can have a different kind of brush here also, the same thing that happened. For example, if I go here on that brush, and let's see if I want to work with kind of brush. With my history brush, I put it here. No. See, it makes it black and white, but with this like dots effect. So basically what I'm doing, I'm undoing these parts, but with this kind of effect, I'm using brush. So that's it. That's all you need to know about the history on the backspace, backward and forward, and undo, and the history tool. Only you can see with only just using these simple tools, you can already create a nice pictures and a nice edit just with using the history brush. And you have another things here, like it said art history brush. It's actually doing the same thing, as the history brush does. But this time, when you put that, it gives some effect on it. You can also change the type of your brush. Here you can change it. For example, I'll make the area like 5 pixel only. See, actually see my snapshot is here when it was in color, and it has this effect. So basically when I do my history art, I go back there, but with kind of effect. And that's also kind of effect that you can do. Some people even do some drawing with that it's a history art brush. I saw lots of work. You can actually search on the internet history art brush drawing. Basically they are drawing with this tool. If you make it smaller, the effect is smaller. Yeah. Now it looks like actually you are painting over, it's like a oil on the canvas. And it's like the old time color. That's it. So it's do the exact same thing. It's exactly the same. It will undo your work on the place that you put your history brush in the history panel. It do the exact same thing, but it has some effect on it.